What is going on YouTube? Carter here. Got another video for you. This is another J-Cape video, but before you start screaming, how many times can you make the same damn video? This one's going to be a little different because it is a slightly different configuration. No, just kidding. Well, that's true. But the reason I'm making this video is this is probably my favorite one I've gotten so far, and I think this will probably, maybe not, be the last one that I get. I am trying to think if I want to do some finagling on another one that's going to drop soon. But the interesting thing about this one is this is the one that I actually pre-ordered before any of the others. So I had two on pre-order. This is the one I had first. I've had it pre-ordered for months. And then I jumped on my other one, the Gecko one. I just barely got in on that one at the last minute. But I had a pre-order on this one for a while, and this was my favorite configuration I was seeing. And what's weird is it wasn't getting a lot of love. Like this pre-order was live pretty close until drop, especially for the flipper only version. But this thumb stud only version was live for a long time. People just didn't seem to want to grab this. And that kind of, man, the knife collecting stuff, it's so weird. Oh man, despite being in it for so many years, it still boggles my mind like these. Because I remember right before these were gonna start showing up and were about to drop, these were still available. So I was thinking, man, these V4s are gonna be so cheap on the secondary. I was almost regretting doing the pre-order because I'm like, these are gonna be popping up and people are gonna be dumping these things because like they can't even fill the pre-order at St. Nick's with this awesome Lava G10 or Lava carbon fiber, not G10, this Lava carbon fiber on this murdered out. I'm like, these are still available and these are about to drop. I'm like, man, these are going to be everywhere. I figured people would get them and the market would be flooded and people just didn't like it. But then it's the opposite, like feeding frenzy. The prices are insane on these. Everybody's clamoring to get them. And I'm just sitting here like, dude, where were you guys when these were just sitting? And some of the other pre-orders were just sitting. I don't know. It's weird. It's almost like people need that go-ahead. Like they kind of need other people talking about and showing these things before they actually run with it. Anyways, that's a complete sidetrack. Let's talk about what we got on this one. So this pre-order was a little bit, this was a pretty good value actually. I think this was $475 for this pre-order. This one came with pivot collars. So not all exclusives came with the pivot collars, and the pivot collars were sold separate and cost extra. So for example, I think the Gecko Customs was $500, but that one had some additional stuff where they numbered them individually, and it came with a koozie and stuff like that. But this one came with the pivot collars, but it also, at least I got a cool something obscene metal pin right here. So that's pretty dope. That's pretty sick, if you know what I'm saying. Got the COA here, your standard replacement hardware. So what's cool about this replacement hardware is if you have black and silver, you can swap them. So I could take this black replacement hardware that matches the replacement hardware that came with this, and I could throw this on one of my other knives if I wanted to, like my satin one that I believe has satin hardware, so I could completely black out the handle if I wanted. So it's kind of cool. It gives you a few different options to mix and match. St. Nick's, I think I told you this was through St. Nick's. Threw in a little bag here, that's pretty cool. And then you have the replacement pocket clip. Another interesting thing about these exclusives is it looks like it was dealer's choice as to what pocket clip came installed, because my Gecko came installed with this clip, whereas this one just came installed with the lightning clip, which is good because this is the one I want anyway, so I don't have to take it apart and put it in, and I don't have to replace any inlays because I am leaving this one alone. So let's take a closer look at the knife. We've got the standard compound ground 20 CV blade. Got some Scata on the blade here, clean that up. PVD, stone washed. Beautiful, beautiful. You got the Fist logo, all standard. Then you've got the inlays, the hot lava, which looks amazing. Not a single gap to be found. done really, really well. I guess some of the, so St. Nick's seems like they always do the lava carbon fiber on the Something Obscene exclusives. But supposedly on some of the older runs, they ran into some problems. The quality wasn't that good. So I think some people were skeptical about how these would turn out. But there was nothing to be worried about. I've not seen a single issue. All of the carbon fiber has been done perfectly. Mine is no exception. PVD handle, everything is PVD'd. With the V4s, what are the changes? Contoured handle, little bit heavier handles in general. But what's cool is you can actually augment the weight of your knife. So if you use carbon fiber inlays, it noticeably reduces the weight compared to doing tie inlays, or the heaviest is the zirconium inlays. So I've got a dual action that has zirconium inlays in it right now, and it is a gnarly beast. Like, you could feel the weight. And then when you compare it to one with carbon fiber, it's noticeably lighter. So kind of cool how you can adjust the weight and feel of your knife based on the inlays you get, because this is a lot of material. I mean, this is a huge amount of material that's being removed with these inlays here. Because of the inlays, they weren't able to do all of the pocketing and lightening on the inside of the scale. So there's only some over here, and I think that might be it. I don't think there's any lightening on this lock side other than, of course, this side of the inlays. So that's a change. The contouring, it feels great. I like the additional weight. It's not crazy, but honestly, the 3.5 was a little bit light for me. I am getting a little bit of a ting on this. So sometimes these guys, out of the box, you're not going to get much of a ting or a ring, but sometimes as they break in, you'll get a little bit of a ting. So this one, and I might be able to adjust the pivot, and I might be able to get this thing into ringer status. I don't know, we'll see. Lightning bolt, this is also contoured. So the old versions were flat. Now the pocket clips are contoured. We have hidden screws on the lock bar insert, hidden screws on the pocket clip. And, you know, the only downside is you have to take the knife fully apart to change out the clip. But in my mind, in my opinion, it's worth it to only have these 3 screws visible on this whole knife. I think it looks awesome. Like, it just adds that level of, like, refinement to it. The inlays too, like the fact that they have hidden screws on the inlays is boom. This thing would have looked like trash if they had screws sticking out here like they do on some of the Chavez inlays. It just looks awful. So how they did that, and I've showed this in a different video, in my takedown video, is the hard material, titanium and zirconium, they just screw right into it. But for the softer materials like the G10 and the micarta and, you know, whatever else, they push in a female screw. I don't know what you call it. You know, what it screws into, a metal receiving end of the screw, and they affix it in there somehow. I think it might be some sort of epoxy or something, and then that's what you screw into for that. And all of these have pivot collars. It's just, if you don't upgrade them, it's just titanium pivot collars. So both sides of this have pivot collars, and like in this instance, they only did one side because you get that kind of cool contrast on there, which looks really, really awesome. Everything else is very similar. The blades are actually, I've seen this tested where people have swapped blades. The blades are the exact same as the version 3.5s, and I believe the back spacers are interchangeable and work in both. Don't quote me on that, pretty sure. Everything else is kind of new and unique. And I gotta say, I wasn't quite sure if I liked the dual action or the thumb stud only. Originally, when I got into J-Capes, I was all about the thumb stud only, and then I got caught up and everybody else likes the dual action. So I got a bunch of those, but I am a fan of the thumb stud only. I think it just, the profile of this thing just looks clean. And I personally prefer to use the thumb studs for opening anyways, reverse flick, front flick. I'm not much of a flipper guy in general. So I like the thumb stud only. So that's why I'm thinking about trying to score another drop with thumb stud only. But that drop is very similar to a dual action I already have. But what I'm thinking is I'm going to try to get on that drop, and if I score what I want, I'll put my other one up for sale to kind of do a swapsy, an indirect swapsy, where I'm swapping cash for the item. But yeah, these things are cool. For anybody that wasn't able to score one, I'm sorry. You know, these whole like drops they're difficult, because I know a lot of people are frustrated because they didn't even know this knife existed and now they're seeing it and they can't get them, or they're seeing them on the secondary for like crazy prices. Look at that carbon fiber. Woo-wee. Looking good. So, you know, that sucks. It's rough. This was a really long pre-order, hard to get on. But like I said, the St. Nick's were actually live up until a few months ago. So, you know, should have got up on that. But, okay, last J-Cape video probably for a while, I think. I don't have anything else scheduled except for that other thing I'm going to try to get on. Man, this one is cool. This one is just really cool. All right, guys, I'm out. Catch you later. Comment down below. What do you think of this guy?